And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blanket. But Tyler, we are, once again, a trios division. How you doing today?
We sure are. I am so happy to be here, Brad. I'm excited because, as you mentioned, we are welcoming back a familiar face, a very familiar voice. Some call him the GI Bro. He's the CEO of Steffens Enterprises, Brooklyn's greatest export, co-host of Hidden Gems Football, and the creator and host of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. Our returning champ and 19 Media Group teammate, Mike Steph. Worldwide Steph, welcome back to the show. How you been?
Hey guys, how you doing? How's everything? I'm doing great. Hopefully I'm enjoying this summer. I'm enjoying this time with y'all. I'm glad to come on to your platform and give my views. Some salty, some less sodium than normal, because I have tamed myself over the last couple of years. But at the same time, I love being with y'all, and the rundown that we have on deck, I'm quite sure we're going to have a lot of things to say in all different directions. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to get into it. It is hot in the desert right now. It is not only hot, it is humid. Now, you living up in the East Coast, you're up in New York, you're by the ocean, you're getting humidity all the time. We're not getting humidity all the time. This is the time of the year where it's like, I forgot I had a hygrometer sitting over on the piano. I had to explain to Freya what a hygrometer is. Do you guys know what a hygrometer is? Literally a humidity measuring device. That's all it is. Tells you the percentage of humidity in the air. That's it. And inside the house here, it's usually at its height like 50%. Never really tops 50% humidity around here. The other day it was at 80% and I was uncomfortable. And it's been kind of holding steady around 70 to 75%. And when I go outside, I'm not kidding. I am burning through t-shirts, burning through them, sweating like crazy. Guys, I need help with laundry. Tyler, I need help with the laundry. Tell the people how we could get some help with laundry.
I would be happy to, Brad. We have just the partner for you. If your laundry pile is cutting promos on you every week, which might be happening at the Winchester household, it's time to tap out. No Scrubs is the fastest wash and fold laundry service in the game. You've already heard it here first. We're going to remind you every chance we get. We're talking pickup, cleaned, folded, and delivered back in as little as 4 hours. That same day service, affordable and handled by the pros. No more jobber level laundry days, just clean gear ready for the spotlight. Hit 19mediagroup.com/sponsorship. Click that No Scrubs logo and let them handle the rest. Once again, that's 19mediagroup.com/sponsorship. Click that No Scrubs logo, and they got you covered.
Can I interject for 1 minute?
Yes, you can.
Talking about the laundry, like, I'm going to give a short little trap tales, right? So I go to the gym, right? Matter of fact, hit the music. Okay, I go to the gym, and lately I've been going to the gym. This past week I went to the gym 4 times, and my wife has a very sensitive nose. Unfortunately, I am what they call smell blind. I can't smell not a darn thing. I've said this before on my own platform, but I'm going to say it here because it goes right together with No Scrubs, right? So due to medication that I take an antidepressant. So that for some reason makes me sweat even more than normal. So like you was talking about, you go through t-shirts and everything. I run through t-shirts. But my thing is, when I come in the house, the first thing my wife does is say, "Oh, you smell like a homeless man." I'm like, "No, I don't." She's like, "Yes, you do." I'm like, "All right. What kind of smell is it? Is it stink or is it sweat? There's a difference, right?" Yeah. So she's like, "No, you just smell real extra sweaty." I'm like, "Okay, I could deal with that." But the part that she's not talking about, she's not really talking about. Well, she's talking about the t-shirt, but my gym shorts, because I have running shorts. So I wear the running shorts, and I'm not gonna lie, because I'm smell blind. I don't know that. Oh yeah, maybe you shouldn't have worn the shorts the second time, right? So I wear them the second time because listen, even though they come together with the little lining inside, I cut the lining out. I don't need that because I got boxes or what have you. Maybe a little bit TMI, but so be it. So I put it on, and as soon as I come in, she's like, when you go in the shower right now. So I go in the shower. She's like, yeah, and keep the stuff in the bathroom and hang it up before you put it in the hamper. So my feelings are hurt, but I'm looking at it like, listen, this is my wife for over 27 years. We've been together over 30 years, 32 years to be exact. So she's looking out for my best interest. But she's so harsh when it comes to it. So she comes into the room yesterday, right before I'm about to go to the laundry. Right before I'm about to go to the gym. And she's like, something stinks in here. I said, how long has it stunk? She's like, I smell it now. I said, okay. So my thing is like, well, it can't be the shorts because the shorts have been here since last night. So it can't be the shorts. It has to be something else, right? So I come out in the living room and I'm putting on my shorts and she says, take those shorts off. I said, why? She said, because they stink. I was like, it's the same smell you smelled in the bedroom. She said, yes. I was like, okay. She's like, did you hang them up like you did yesterday? Or like you were supposed to do yesterday? I was like, no, I just hung up my t-shirt and my underwear, whatever. And she's like, it's the shorts. She's like, listen, I don't want anybody talking about you. Now, my thing is, I'm in the gym. I don't know Nan's soul in the gym. I can care less. Do you know? Listen, I don't want to be known as a stink dude in the gym, but do you know when I do my hour, my Broadway on the treadmill, do you know how much gas I pass? A lot. Do I care? No, because I'm about my games, baby. And sometimes the game you gotta lose. And guess what I'm losing? I'm losing gas. But with all that being said, I wish that we had a no scrubs in the city of Brooklyn. So I could at least send my gym uniforms to no scrubs so I wouldn't be belittled by my wife of 32 years saying that, hey babe, I love you, but yeah, smell a little bit tart, so yeah, I just wanted to put that in there. So yeah, that's my trap tail.
Listen, I got to tell you, I'm a bit of a bloodhound when it comes to those kind of things too. Like the smell thing, I'm very sensitive to that.
You smellophobic?
I'm not smellophobic. I just like, if somebody's like, hey, this smells real bad, are you the person that's like, good, I want to smell like that and I want that near me? Or are you a person that goes, oh no, gross? Because if you're not like, oh, that's gross, I don't know what to do there. Like, I don't know what to do there. If people aren't like, hey, that really bad smelling thing, we should fix that. And they're just like, hey, that really bad smelling thing, I love it. I love that it hurts my face when it goes into it. When I go, and then it's just in there, it's just ruminating around in my face. Biologically, I think if I go, smells bad, there's something in my DNA going like, stay away from that. That bad smelling thing it's gonna kill you. So when I go, mildew, all right, so get that towel in the laundry, and Jess is like, I don't smell anything. I don't know what you're talking about. My guess is that for the shorts, I know where the smell's coming from in the shorts. I know exactly where it's coming from. It's coming from the waistband, because that elastic band is soaking up all of it. It's nothing else. It's that elastic band, because I have jeans that'll smell bad like that from sweating. And if I don't get them in the laundry and get them in there like hot, and even sometimes I got to put like a little vinegar in there to kill that smell. Like it's just there. I put on a shirt the other day to go to bed. I was like, I'm going to put on this t-shirt, and I was like, what smells? And I realized this must have sat in there too long before I dried it, and had to go back into the laundry. It's like all of it, and it's just a little bit. Jess couldn't tell. She had to get her nose all up in there to try to get it, and I was like about that far away from my body. I'm just, oh no, absolutely not. So I understand. I totally understand.
At least you can smell yourself. I can't. So that means I have to put
Yeah.
extra care into my upkeep, which you should do anyway. You know, but this is not a smoke and mirrors segment. But you got to put extra. I have to put extra care into myself because once I go out the house, I'm on my own. I don't have my wife to be like, babe. I would love to have a friend of mine to let me know, but at the same time, that's always that if you're like,
Yeah.
no, do I want to let them know?
No, because they're gonna roast you. They're not gonna.
You know. But at the same time, if they're a true friend, and if you really value your friendship, you appreciate the fact that they're letting you know, yeah, it could be a little.
Yeah, if they're kind, but if they're like me, it's gonna hurt. I remember vividly that back to the chewing sound thing. Production meeting Jones here. I vividly remember popping one of my friends because we were in a group setting. I think it was a basketball trip, and we were all sharing a room. And one of my teammates was eating something, and I vividly remember him just like eating it like he was gonna have it taken from him if he didn't just shovel it in. And you're like, hey, is that pretty good? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, sounds like it. And I remember popping my teammates like all started cracking up. You don't want that from people to let you know that way, and that's the only way that I can do it because my brain is not wired to be nice apparently. And speaking of, we're gonna get into WWE talk here. So, Tyler, why don't you kick us off? Hit us with your question.
Yeah, as Mike alluded to, this is really the perfect episode to welcome back Mike Steph. Brad, we're talking WWE and the week they had culminating in Saturday night's main event, which is going to be my question in just a moment. AEW Redemption preview. I'm sure we're going to mention the Knicks. We're going to talk Jay-Z in a little bit. I am so excited. These are my guys right here. I love Brad Winchester. I love Mike Steph. And I also loved some of what we saw on WWE Saturday night's main event. And there are some other parts of the show that I still have questions about. So with that being said, let's talk about what went down in New York City. Fatal Influence became tag champs. Cody and Punk were victorious. And the duo of Roman Reigns and Jalen Brunson, in case you forgot, are at the peak of their respective professions. Also in my notes, I typed Danhausen and Cat in caps. What a time. We should have seen the Karl Anthony Towns or an additional New York Knicks element on this show, given that Danhausen has these ties to the organization now. Great moment for Cat. Chokeslam City on the Judgment Day. I did enjoy all that was that part of the show. However, I want to ask you guys about the grudge match from Saturday night's main event, which featured Lyra Valkyria, speaking of laundry. I almost called her Laundry Valkyria. That's crazy. Lyra Valkyria, who could benefit, this new character could benefit from no scrubs. I'm killing this.
Lingerie Valkyria, yeah.
I'm killing this question. Yeah. Lyra defeated Bayley. We were texting about it. I've been thinking about it. And I texted this to you guys during the match. This, to me, felt like a farewell to Bayley. Two-part question, and we'll start with Mike Steph. A, am I tripping? B, what's next for the role model?
Okay. Are you tripping? When you typed it, I was like, darn, do you know something that I don't? I mean, I know her contract is rumored to be up soon, probably.
That's been the talk
end of the year.
That's been the talk for months now, right?
And then we've had the little teases. Well, not teases, but we've had Mercedes put out the pictures, the tweets, talking about, Wrestle Dream. She wanted to have Davina Rose, which is the moniker Bayley went into, that was Bayley before, prior to WWE. So when I saw how the match ended, and with the injury angle and pretty much demolishing of Bayley, I was like, "Oh, darn, that does look like a write-off." Because I was surprised that they had this match now and not 2 weeks later at SummerSlam. I mean, it's not like they booked totally with SummerSlam. They have plenty of room to add matches to SummerSlam, right? But so I figured that whatever was going to happen on Saturday Night Main Event, if anything, was going to lead to a rematch with some type of stipulation at SummerSlam. It still possibly can. But the way that they put Lyra over so strong, you would literally be cutting Lyra's legs off if you rematch them and then have Lyra lose, right? Especially being the fact she just turned, she's a heel. You need to keep her strong. Now, what's next for her? For Bayley, that is. I was thinking about this today, actually, prior to us recording, and I was like, darn. I have two trains of thought. One, could she stay in WWE? She's such a really legitimate role model and leader to the women's division, especially the up and coming wrestlers that's coming up from NXT, or just even the women that are out on the indies, and giving them insight on what to do, how to do it. Just giving them just a platform with the situation. I forgot the name of it.
The Lodestone.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Awesome.
So I'm looking at that and I'm like, I could see it being an asset, but does WWE look at her as an asset? That's the main question. Because if the way they're booking her, if it hasn't been asked already, it seems like they're asking everybody that they're not booking well to take a pay cut. Would she be willing to take a pay cut? Should she be asked to take a pay cut? Is she in the realm of, I think she's probably, not to get too much in the age, but she's closer to out the door than she is at the beginning of career, right? So what would her end game be if she stayed in WWE, and does the WWE want her there? I still go back to WrestleMania 40 and that weird build or lack thereof. She wins the Royal Rumble. Long time in the making. Yeah. You knew that the end game was going to be her and Io at WrestleMania, and there was literally no build. She was smart enough to realize they were going to turn on her, but she wasn't on any promotional vehicles. Like her match was an afterthought. Then when she got the title, her reign was an afterthought. It was almost like she was just holding the belt because until she lost to the Nia Jax at SummerSlam. And I always thought, I was under the belief that she won the Royal Rumble, and that was right around the time there was rumors of where's Mercedes was going to go. Was she going to come back to WWE, or was she going to go to AEW? Once they realized, negotiations went the way they went, and they realized that Mercedes was not coming back, it's almost like Bayley got punished for that. Because I think everything that they was leading up to was for Mercedes to come in and for them to reconnect and then maybe go off in their own direction. Once that ended up not being the case, I really feel like Bayley was punished for that, and she has never been in a position to really succeed, especially last year where she got taken out of WrestleMania for Becky to return and so forth. So I think, that's my long-winded way of saying I think she should go. It's going to be shocking for me to say this. I don't believe AEW is going to use her to a potential, but at the same time, at this point, why don't you just go to AEW? You're going to be with your best friend. You're not saying you're going to have to run into the place, but you're going to be at a certain level, because if you want to keep Mercedes happy, you're not going to allow Bayley to come in and then for her to have a feud and then her drop off the mat. And it gives her more freedom to do everything that she's trying to do under the umbrella of WWE aspects. So I think the writing is on the wall that she's probably going to go to AEW, or at the bare minimum, maybe a short-term contract with AEW. She has they have their dream matches or what have you, and she's still free to do what she needs to do. And, she could always return to WWE and get inducted into the Hall of Fame. But right now, she doesn't seem like a priority, to tell you the truth. WWE, the way they're booking, nobody is a priority. But the celebrities and the fans. So, yeah, that's my answer.
So Bayley won the Royal Rumble. I did quickly look up dates on January 27th, and Netflix announcement, this was 2024. The Netflix announcement was 4 days prior to that. So sometimes I wonder if it was like hey, let's build up excitement heading toward this Netflix deal, even though it was like a year out. The announcement time and then Bayley winning, but this is also on the heels of people wanting Bayley to win and really building that character, and them just going like, no, we gave her that moment and that was all we're going to give her, and then we'll have her win the belt, but we're not going to tell any kind of good story in between there. And yeah, there was a lot of it feels like they pick and choose who to prioritize everything around, and then everything else also happens. WWE is certainly not the only promotion that's suffering from this, because AEW is after having Beach Break, we'll talk about it later. But it just feels like it's a no-brainer, at least if you're going to do it for a year or two, to have Bayley or Davina Rose go to AEW and wrestle Mercedes. Yeah, makes all the sense in the world. Have them do some big thing, do it at All In or All Out, one of the two, probably All In, but have them do it there in front of a giant crowd. That would be probably the biggest match on the card. But I can also see Bayley pivoting her career either in WWE, which would make more sense to me because they desperately need it, or having her do it in AEW where she can learn the ropes a little bit, especially with Renee there. Having her on commentary would be awesome, because Bayley can talk. Bayley, no shade to Mercedes or anything, but like in terms of the two on a mic, it's Bayley. Bayley is just a natural talker. She sounds great, and I feel like she would be awesome on commentary. I really want to see her with Michael Cole before Cole hangs it up, because I think that dynamic's been in the works forever, and I think it would just be awesome to hear Bayley and Michael Cole.
The best rivalry.
Oh my God,
of a generation.
It's so good. Like, just you can tell like Michael Cole making a call, and then Bayley calling him an idiot in the middle of it would be gold. So I would love to see that at some point, but wrestling wise, it makes sense for Bayley to leave. There's so much talent coming up. There's so much talent that's already on the roster that's not being used. I mean, there's stars and champions that are on that roster that are like an afterthought. You brought up Nia Jax earlier. Okay, Tiffany Stratton. There's so many people that are on this card that I don't know, or on the roster that I don't really know. To your point, I think losing and going out that way, it does seem like a farewell, Tyler. And I'll kick it to you here in a second. I did think that it was interesting that they had it be an injury angle. Because it could go one of two ways. With Kairi Sane, it was an injury angle, and then she dipped to Japan the first time during the pandemic. This last match, just they stopped using her, and then she left. This feels like an open door so that she can return from an injury. It also feels like a way to write her off TV so that she can go somewhere else. And it's my guess is that it was hey, I want to leave. We've been having this feud. Let's end the feud. And then from there, I'll leave knowing that I helped build the star, and I can go on and go actually be featured somewhere and get to do my own creative things and get to play around a little bit more. So I'm excited to see what happens if this is in fact the end for Bayley and a new beginning for Davina Rose. Selfishly, I want to see that. I want to see what that looks like in AEW. I think it could be a ton of fun. I also think that they could book their shows a little better so that we could have a lot of fun on the screen and not, never see any of these people. Tyler, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think back, it was great commentary by you guys. I think back to when Braun Breaker beat the brakes off of Ricochet on Raw. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
I laugh because it was so clear to me back then. Oh, clearly Ricochet is on his way out. It makes so much sense for him to join AEW. But there was chatter amongst the fan base online about, oh no, this is just setting up for Ricochet to come back in a few weeks and this, that, and the other. And Brad, I've quoted the stat several times on the show. I'm generally right 10% of the time on this podcast, especially when we talk about wrestling. So when we have these moments where I was right, I tend to bring it up on GI, just mostly for an ego play. But my point is, I was right about Ricochet. once Braun Breaker beat him up backstage, it just gave, oh, this is it for Ricochet and WWE at this moment. For whatever reason, watching that match on Saturday night's main event, and for all the reasons that Mike Steph laid out in terms of what's been in the zeitgeist, these really strange WrestleManias the past few years with Bayley. Again, I won't try to replicate what Mike said. He put it so eloquently a few minutes ago. That's been around like, okay, do they really value Bayley? What's going on there? And then, Brad, what you laid out, thinking about all the potential of what Bayley could mean in an AEW or continuing to build that Lodestone camp and that Lodestone series. She would be an amazing coach one day if she so chooses. Like you said, she has commentary chops. Like, it just seems that she has so much to give to wrestling. She's already done so much in the industry. She's already had a Hall of Fame worthy career in WWE, that putting over Lyra Valkyria, for Lyra Valkyria to beat the brakes off her in the post match. I'm not saying this is full conspiracy tie, but there are just so many pieces being put together here, topped off with, as Mike reminded us, of Mercedes adding to her Instagram story a week or two ago.
Yeah.
This concept art of Mercedes Moné versus Davina Rose Wrestle Dream, which I believe is still in October every year for AEW. It just seems like all of the makings are here for Bayley to spread her wings and to leave WWE. If that is the case, which I certainly think so, I'm just really excited for what she can create from here. And again, thinking about what she's done in WWE over the last decade and change. I mean, she's one of the 4 horsewomen. We talk about the 4 horsewomen often on this show, between Charlotte, between Becky, between Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Moné. Bayley has had such an undeniable resume she's created. My dad met her at the local Fry's Marketplace a few months ago. He said great things about her. She's just one of those figures in entertainment, specifically in wrestling, who just seems beloved by fans, by colleagues. As you often say, Brad, I want good things for Bayley. And I'm just so excited to see what's next for her. But to me, this match just felt different in that I really think it's the closing of a chapter. I'm glad Lyra Valkyria went over. I'm invested in what's next for her as this heel character. But I'm incredibly fascinated by what could be in store for Bayley in the next few months. But as Mike Steph pointed out, I could be completely wrong. This could be the other 90% of this equation, where Bayley just pops back up at SummerSlam, or she's back for a big program at Survivor Series. However, I don't think that's the case this go around.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll add that was disappointing was the lack of interest by the fans during that match. Like, I really believe that Bayley breaking or busting Lyra Valkyria's nose by mistake was due to the lack of interest. And like, you know what? All right, we need to add a little bit more physicality to this to try to get them into it, because the energy wasn't there. And I'm just like, yeah, right now, to me, Bayley is a legacy star when it comes to WWE. You know, she's in the same category, and some people might think this is blasphemous, and I don't. But she's in the same category as Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, those type of characters that they're kind of beyond face and heel. They're who they are.
Yeah.
And
would you add Sheamus to that list? Also in the zeitgeist, he parted ways with WWE. Or is he in a different category for you?
I mean, I guess you could. Preferably, personally, I wouldn't. But same difference. He'd been there what, 16 years, 17 years,
20
so,
years.
Yeah, same difference. You know, he's a
top of the
legacy
card
star.
guy. Yeah, for sure. And no longer with the company because TKO restructuring.
You know, so the lack of crowd interest doesn't really help the cause of keeping her there. It's like, all right, well, if I'm here, if I'm at MSG, Saturday night main event. Saturday night main event. I'm supposed to be in this grudge match with, this up and comer Lyra Valkyria. She's coming off a heel turn. We have over a year and a half of history based from WrestleMania 41 all the way up until now, and this is the type of investment that the fans are giving us, not based on our work, but based on the booking that they've done for the last 18 months. why am I here? I could get paid regardless. If they're going to give me what I want, yeah, I could stay here because it's convenient. But am I going to be fulfilled? Or I can get my fulfillment both in my pocket and creatively, just going someplace else. And at least initially, I'll get the pop that I believe I deserve. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Saturday night's main event, okay, there were a ton of celebrities out for the event. Okay. So the show itself seemed just centered on a live audience instead of a television audience. I don't know how non-Knicks fans viewed this thing. I personally was like, I don't care about all this. Like, everything that had to do with Roman Reigns, I thought was a gigantic waste of time. Okay, understanding the ties the company has to New York, at least the initial company, the original company has to New York, that it was an MSG and all of that. I understand why you would bring out stars like that, especially very public, prominent figures that are wrestling fans. I don't know. How do you think this kind of stuff lands with the audience overall? Because I context. Personally, I thought all it did was hurt the Roman Seth storyline. I thought it was a giant waste of time. I thought they had way too many people coming out throughout the show. And like that, the best thing that came out of the Cody Punk tag thing happened on social media. It didn't even happen on the show. So it's hard for me. So like, what do you guys think about all this audience or all these celebrities and all these guest appearances in terms of live viewership audience participation versus the in-person audience participation? Mike, we'll start with you.
Okay. Well, when you talk about the people that were in the crowd, first of all, I had to remind myself that this wasn't Netflix. This was actually Peacock, because it was almost like a Netflix presentation. Oh, guess who's in the stands? Oh, we got Zuffa boxing. We got this. We got that. But also, to your point, if you really was trying to concentrate on the people in the building, did they not realize we're in New York? We don't care about the Buffalo Bills. We don't care about Deion Dawkins. We don't care about Tyrese Halliburton, especially now that we got a chip and he doesn't. So no matter what he did means nothing, because we are the champions. The champions. But we'll get to that later. You have Kay Cunningham. Sorry, brother. But Kay Cunningham. Okay. Ooh. Is that supposed to endear the New York audience to the WWE by seeing all these people that are enemies or rivals of New York teams? We could care less. We got Ice Cube's son out there in full Dodgers gear, which I get because he's from LA. Yeah. And this, I think this weekend, is it this weekend, the Yankees against the Dodgers or whatever? So that's probably why he's in town. He wasn't in town for Saturday Night Main Event. He was in town for Yankees versus Dodgers. Yeah. So getting to your actual question, like the way they're presenting it, business-wise, unfortunately, makes sense. Because when it comes to TV revenue, they already got that money. Once they sign those deals, that money's already accounted for. That's why they still keep on making these record profits, because of the Peacock deal, because of the Netflix deal, because of this deal, because of that deal. All those deals are signed, sealed, and delivered. What's showing up and making them less than optimal is they're losing the ability to get people into the building, such as with the SummerSlam attendance. Mm-hmm. So right now, they actually do have to concentrate, and it's a detriment to the product still, but they have to concentrate on the people in the building, because right now that's the money that they're losing out on. So to a certain degree, that's what you have to do to have the people say, you know what, I saw it on TV. That looks like an experience that I want to go to. That's how I used to feel. That's why whenever they came for a short stint, I was like, you know what, Okay, yo, we're gonna stick it Raw. But unfortunately, with all the commercials and all the breaks and everything, even when
Man,
you
it's
go into
so
the
much.
building,
Yeah.
you're gonna go into a building for a televised event. It's not worth it.
No, the dark
You're
matches
paying,
afterward are the best part.
yeah, you're paying all these hundreds of dollars, even for nosebleed seats, and then for a 3-hour product, 2.5-hour product, you're getting maybe about 20 to 30 minutes in front of you in the ring. Everything else is either if advertisement to the people that's around ringside that they're shuffling in and out because, oh yeah, quiet is kept. You really think those people actually sit there for the whole time? No, they shuttle them in, let them, hey, how you doing? And then when the lights are off, then they shuttle them back out, and then you got seat holders. Those people aren't staying there for the whole thing. Why do you think they're always showing the same right behind the announce table or right ringside? It's always two sides of the ring that they're showing. But I say all that to say, it's a problem that they've created because the booking leads to people not wanting to be invested TV wise. So, because if you can miss 2 weeks and you pick up on the third week, you haven't missed anything. Or in my case, which I don't have linear cable anymore, so I can't watch SmackDown, but I just go on YouTube, USA on WWE on USA on YouTube, and I watch the clips, and I'm caught up to date. There's nothing for me to do. Like, I am even though it's far away, I'm really contemplating on not ordering WrestleMania next year. This will be the first SummerSlam since what? WWE Network was in 14, so this is the first SummerSlam in 12 years I'm not going to watch. Why? I'm not paying $30.
Yeah.
Not for what you're getting me. Yeah, the matches on paper look good, but yeah. So I'm gonna truncate that, and Ty, take it over.
Now, hearing what you guys thought about this show, I'm starting to rethink what I said earlier. I don't know that I like the show as much as I may have led our audience to believe.
I hated it so much. I hated it so much. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I loved everything Danhausen did, and everything after that was garbage.
I hit you up. I was happy for you because what a 6 to 8 months it's been for Danhausen. Yeah, this show felt like a house show.
Yes,
but not in a positive way. It just felt like, I don't know how we got here. Particularly, I think the biggest issue I had was with CM Punk and Cody Rhodes beating Gunther and Sami Zayn. I low-key kind of forgot. Even though I said that in my notes, I'm like, wait, I really felt a way about that when it went down, because I even told my dad, I said, I think they're having this match because Gunther and Sami Zayn are going to win, and then we're going to get a fatal four-way at SummerSlam. If we're doing this match, why even have it if Cody and CM Punk can coexist and they are going to beat these guys? Of course, this set up what I could only presume is going to be a returning Nick Aldis, returning to the ring, the national treasure, formerly known as Magnus in TNA, Nick Aldis versus Gunther for that grudge match at SummerSlam. Where does that leave Sami Zayn, the guy who was just the undisputed champ 2 weeks ago? That remains to be seen. I would hope that they'll have plans for him. But yeah, there was way more issues I had with this show, or just things that I simply didn't like, versus the positives that I felt from this edition of Saturday Night's Main Event. I think the Knicks fan in me was just elated for Mike Steph, was overjoyed for my mom that this was, yes, a WWE wrestling event, but then also very much a celebration of the city and a celebration of the New York Knicks ending the 53-year drought. So that all worked for me. But Brad, as you mentioned, and Mike, as you spoke about regarding the live experience and tickets being down, my dad, during that conversation, my dad even told me, before I kick it back to Brad, that he saw a stat. Last year, SummerSlam, the two nights combined sold close to 100,000 tickets, I believe. So about 50,000 per night. And as of this recording, tickets for each night are about in that 22,000 range. So by so many metrics, the product has really fallen off. Fan interest, fan engagement is not where it was. I was really hoping heading into this show, because the show kind of snuck up on me on the wrestling calendar, that we would leave with some additional fervor and some more excitement for SummerSlam. But this show did not do that for me. It sounds like I'm not alone in that regard, Brad.
Yeah, well, in terms of just a general programming of the show, booking of the show, and the matches of the show, there's like the Lyra Bayley thing. There was so much potential for this particular show to really bring in, an audience that maybe has, I don't know, summer fatigue, to remind them like, oh no, we're about to ramp up and get into SummerSlam season, and we're about to like really get into some cool stuff and some good stuff. Instead, we got like this. It just, to your point, it felt like a celebration of New York. I don't give a crap. I don't live in New York. I don't care about the Knicks. I don't care about any of the shit that was going on in MSG at all. Sorry, I love you, Mike.
That goes back
Do
to
not care.
That goes back to your question. This show was for Mike Steph, my mom, me.
Lots of people that are fake, that are like, oh, I'm gonna be a Yankees fan. I live in Iowa. Yeah, shut up. Like, just shut up. Like, Yankees.
Sorry to our Iowa
get out of
fans
here.
too, like the Yankees.
Yeah. You enjoy your train tracks and your floods. Bunch of garbage. Anyway, I think this show was fan service for a very specific demographic, which is fine. That's their prerogative. Again, I understand the ties of WWE to New York. It made me not want to watch the product so much more. All I wanted to see was, how do the fans react to Danhausen at MSG after the Knicks won? His face was on the poster. He had his own jersey. People are saying he's the reason they won a championship, not, talent and hard work. Yeah, of course. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I wanted to see how that goes. Of course, people were going to cheer for him. He came out wearing, he was wearing the long boys, the Knicks long boys. Of course they were going to cheer. And then Kat came out. That's where all the celebrity stuff should have stopped. Like, Brunson, fine. Start the show with that. How are you going to do that after Punk and Cody? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that, the way they set the show up was so goofy. Like, I don't know. It was just bad. It was a bad television product. It was a bad television product. I don't know how else to say it. Probably in person was awesome. I don't know. I wasn't there. I imagine being in MSG and having like Knicks players come out was probably dope. I imagine that was all fun and a night to celebrate both pro wrestling and a championship. I think that was all really cool. I don't care. I'm in Arizona. What do I care? Oh, Cade's on my... I don't care. It's not the season.
You did.
What is Cade doing there?
Mike reminded us you did have the Cade moment briefly.
Yeah. Oh, good job. You got knocked out first round. Awesome. Yay. Like, I don't... second round. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. How long has the basketball season been over now? I'm just saying. Like, I'm just saying, what do we do in WWE? How is this going to... All this will do is boost engagement on social media and get more airtime and playtime on ESPN, one of their partners. That makes sense if your whole thing is exposure. But if the exposure isn't getting you new viewers, who cares? If exposure isn't getting people to go to the arena to watch SummerSlam, who cares? It doesn't matter. So eventually the cable companies, we talked about this earlier, I looked up some stats, and it turns out about per month, Mike, you are worth $15 to $20 in revenue just from having cable and watching cable, which is why somebody at that place would be fighting for their life to make sure they maintain viewers, because you are valuable to the advertisers who are paying for the programming, because television programming is just a way to get you to watch commercials. It's not the other way around, and it's always been that way. So the people that are paying the cable companies to put these programs on TV, and you have WWE, a publicly traded company that is beholden to their sponsors, that is now owned by TKO and not their own deal. Like, say what you want about, and we have, about Vincent Kennedy McMahon and what a unique individual he is, we'll say, nefarious. He at least had like a direction where it was like, we're going to keep it wrestling. Even if the wrestling sucks and if the booking sucks, I know what the company is going to be and I know where it's going to go. And we had like a couple year period in the middle of him transitioning out and Hunter taking over where things were just glorious. And I really thought we were entering a new stage. The Attitude Era didn't last that long. And I have like this feeling that where it was like that happened kind of lasted about the same amount of time before we're starting to go like there's cracks in the armor here again, and it's starting to peter out again. It was about that 3-year period, and I just feel like getting all the fan engagement, like we're doing the Rock and Wrestling Connection Part 2, getting all the celebrities that are coming out for exposure. That's great. Just didn't work for me. It didn't make me want to watch it more. It made me want to watch it less. And because all I could think is like, I'm going to turn it on. We're going to have a 20-minute segment of some talking to say New York a bunch of times so the crowd cheers. And then have Seth come out to, I guess, be a heel. I felt like I accidentally pressed a button and I got a rerun. Like it was just like it's Seth attacking Roman from behind while Roman's talking in the ring, while he's been okey doked by the entrance music, and it's just like just play number 92, and they're just running play 92 a bunch of times. It felt lazy. It felt gross. It made me mad on behalf of the talent involved, like actually angry, because I'm like you're wasting their time right now. I don't know if they feel that way because they're getting paid and they are getting a ton of exposure with those celebrities. They will be paired with pretty much forever now. So I just, I have a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts, very strong ones. I mean, shout out to the champion New York Knicks. But God dang. That's it. Okay. As far as that goes, I'm sure you have thoughts, but I got thoughts too, and we're going to move on. Let's get into it. I know Mike's got thoughts too. Let's get into it. Play the music. It's time for Someday when you have kids.
And now it's time for
Someday.
Someday when you have kids.
Someday I can have kids.
Okay, Tyler, Mike, we were at the Winchester household on a bit of a hiatus here from having a tag team available for one Freya. It was just me. It was just a singles match, me, Freya, for 3 days ish. 3 days ish. It is monsoon season, and Freya is not a fan of bad weather. If there is thunder, it must mean a tornado. If there is lightning, it must mean certain death, fire, power outages, and Dorothy level Wizard of Oz kind of natural disaster. There's never just some thunder. There's never just some wind and some rain. The power never flickers just because a dump truck ran into a power line and knocked it over. That's a shoot. That's a thing that happened. Jess went out of town. She was crying before she even got to the door. Freya specifically. Jess was not crying when she got to the door. I imagine she cried later. Brokenhearted that she's not with both of us. Freya was very upset because she's like, Mom's gone. We're supposed to have rain. I'm scared. I kid you not, within 3 hours, the power flickered and it knocked out our internet while it was raining outside. We had some thunder and some lightning, some wind, some rain. Rained really hard. I sent you guys, both you guys, I sent that video of rain in sheets. Around that same time, Freya and I had a long talk and it was like, check it out. It's just thunder. Let's look at the map. You don't see anything crazy out there, right? It's like, yeah. I kind of want to go jump in the rain, but I'm scared of the thunder. It's like, then let's go jump in the rain. Let's go. Okay. She stood in the doorway. I ran out into the rain and ran back. And she's like, well, I want to do it. She ran out into the rain. She ran back. And she's like, and then it went, it wasn't like a strike and a bang. It was like that soft roll of thunder. I freaking love rolling thunder. That shout out to RVD. We had just sort of like from the, I want to say from the east all the way to the west, just this gentle roll. And she was like, that wasn't that scary. And I was like, I know. We could open the windows and just relax. I fall asleep to this. We don't have like an awning in the back of the house. It's just sort of a flat thing. And the wind was blowing in toward the house. Like, we can't open the windows. We're going to end up with a wet couch and a wet floor and stuff. So we can't do that. It went from, this is going to be the worst thing ever, to Freya and I outside holding hands, walking in the rain, jumping in puddles, going on an exploration and checking out the flooding and all of this stuff. And we just had a great couple of days. She got excited. She was like, that was the best thunderstorm ever. That was just the best. From thunder is going to make me not be able to sleep. I'm going to hyperventilate, she freaked out because we got her some noise canceling headphones so she could try to block it out and watch, like, just fire it up on her Kindle and watch some YouTube or whatever. Little YouTube Kids action, and the internet went out when the power flickered. I couldn't get it back. It was an hour-long process. I got it back eventually, but in that time, the nice thing is that she had to be off, and it forced her to realize it wasn't as bad as she thought. And then we ended up just going on a little adventure. We both wore our rain jackets. It was a Winnie the Pooh situation out there. It was awesome. We had a great time. The next couple of days were very smooth. We went to Bricks and Minifigs, the Lego store in Tucson. And she got a bunch of like random Lego pieces. We spent some time building that. It was just great. It was great. I hope when things break down, they don't go as planned. Tyler, sometimes it's the best thing that could happen. I hope you get to experience that someday when you have kids. Mike.
No, I had to just I was tearing up just now because that's just amazing. Like the way you recounted the story made me think about my granddaughter, the tribal princess herself. Yeah, like she'll be, both my granddaughters will be 5 in the next within the next 15 days. They'll both be 5. So the tribal princess, that's the one that lives in the Bronx. So I could see that interaction with us. My little suggestion or my little ditty toward Tyler about someday when you have kids, or someday when you have daughters, right? Now that's something me and Brad here. You know, Brad is at the very beginning of the journey, and I'm a little bit further on, right? I have 2 daughters. I have a late teen daughter, and I have a daughter in their 20s. But you know what comes with having daughters in that age? Boyfriends.
Yep. I knew you were going to ruin my day.
Yes, boyfriends. You know. So no, I'm not. See my youngest daughter, Main Event K, is looking at me. She think you're going to talk about hers. I'm not.
What's up, Main Event K?
Yeah. Tyler said hi. So I will focus on my oldest daughter because more likely she's not going to be watching this show. She just doesn't like watching her father act a fool.
Me is busy.
No shade.
Me is busy. We get it.
No, not busy. She just makes a point not to support. Like she supports me in person, but she's like, I ain't rocking with that. You know, that's my dad. Like I've known him all my life. I don't need to spend my off time watching him on the screen. So she has a boyfriend, and he's a nice gentleman. And just so happened yesterday he came to the house. She forgot something because she spends half the time over there and she spends half the time home, and she forgot something. So since he was off, she was like, "Hey, such and such, I need you to go to my house and pick up XYZ." So she calls me, let me know, yeah, such and such is gonna come. My boyfriend's gonna come over there to pick up an item. Now, a couple of days prior, she actually gave me a lecture. Yes, that's right. She gave me a lecture. She asked me, "Dad, were you laying on my bed the other while I was gone?" I said, "Yeah." She was like, "Well, we need to set boundaries." I said, "Excuse me?" She said, "Yeah, we need to set boundaries. Can you please not go in my room when I'm not here?" So I said, "Okay." Right now, without a little taken back, yeah. Because I'm like, "What you talking about?" She's like, "I do pay rent." I was like, "Okay, fine. Say no more." She didn't like the way I said it, but I was like, "All right, say no more," right? So in her mind, so when she told me her boyfriend was going to come over, I was like, "Oh, so let me get this straight. We need to set boundaries. So I am not allowed in your room in my house, but your boyfriend can come over and go into your room when you're not home. How is that working?" She's like, "I pay rent." I said, "You pay rent for that space, right?" "Yeah." "You don't pay rent for the whole house." She said, "No." I was like, "You don't pay rent for refrigeration." She's like, "But I buy my own food." I was like, "Yeah, but do you pay for the refrigerator?" "No." "Do you pay for the light bill?" "No." "Do you pay for the apps that you use?" "No." "Do you pay for electric bill?" "No." Regardless, but no problem. So he comes over. and he couldn't find it, so he calls her, and they're on FaceTime because they're iPhone people, and I'm an Android person, so I'm out the loop. And she's asking him or telling him where it's at, and he has it on speaker, and so he says something. I was like, yeah, just go in there. Oh, Rion, you have me on speaker? I said, listen, I don't care what he came to pick him up. Tell you the truth, you're interrupting us because he likes wrestling. So he actually we was watching Saturday Night Main Event.
That was gonna be a follow-up question. Okay, good. This is promising.
You hurry up and tell him where it's at, because this has no commercials. So unfortunately, the majority of the end of the Danhausen match, because that's the match that he actually wanted to watch because he's a big Knicks fan, he was in her room searching for said items, well, unsaid items, and he actually literally missed the end of the Danhausen match due to being a good boyfriend and coming over. Not only that, then she put him on the time clock because he's like, oh yeah, I think I gotta go. I was like, why? He was like, yeah, because she got off and I gotta meet at home. I was like, she's not coming home. She's not going over here. No. I said, you got time. Listen, make her wait. He was like, I was like, wrestling's on. By the time you get home, it's going to be off. You got Peacock? No. See, I'm not giving you my password either. So
boundaries. This is good.
Yeah, boundaries. Exactly. She wanted you to do this. You did this, but just you're kicking it with the pops. I say all that to say, I never thought I would be in a situation, and I guess I probably should have, but I never thought I'd be in a situation where I'm actually sitting down watching wrestling or watching a sport, watching TV with one of my daughter's boyfriends when the daughter is not around. That is a whole different experience. One thing when they're around and he's all right, he comes in and I can mess with him, whatever. But when he's not around, and I'm like, wow. And she doesn't like that because she's like, what, you like him or something? I'm like, do you want me not to like him? I could do that. I could do that very easily. So, Tyler, if and when you have children, and if and when you have a daughter, just know, and Brad can probably tell you, at least from the daughter's point of view, boys are easier when they're growing up. When they get older, you let the leash go. You say, you know what? Okay, fine. They bring a girl home. Yeah. The daughter brings a boy home. It's different. But when it comes to girls are easier when they're younger, and they get harder as they get older because you have all these other things. And plus, you're a man, you're a male, you're a boy, you've dated. So you already know what's going on in these dudes' mouths, in their mind.
Good catch.
You know exactly. You know exactly where their end game is.
Yeah.
Right? And they don't like it when you see through them. No, they don't like that at all. A lot of times with this particular guy, he's a cool guy. He's very naive sometimes. Not as naive that he wants you to let you know, but he's very naive sometimes. Things go over his head, and I could pick with him because I'm a very sarcastic person. That's a trait that I got from my mother. My mother is very sarcastic. I'm very sarcastic, and but he knows how to deal with it, which is great. And just that and me having that relationship with them actually increases the relationship with my daughter, which makes it a win-win all around. So that is my input on someday when you have kids.
I love that. I already have someday when you have kids penciled in as my favorite segment on this podcast. That's no surprise. But then when we get a twofer, when Mike Steph comes through, this is great. I want to talk about someone else who I admire quite a bit. Thank you guys. And that is Jabari Davis. Brad, Mike, is your backyard looking like a hardcore match gone wrong? Do you have that was that was a rhetorical question. Do you have way too much stuff that you need to get rid of? I have some stuff I need to get rid of. Whether you're looking to break up with your old mattress set, your fridge, your freezer, or something else, we know just the person you can tag in. That's right. 19 Media's own Jabari Davis has launched his own business. JD's Junk Removal and Services offers affordable, efficient junk removal for the greater Tucson area. Visit jdsjunkremovals.com to learn more and book your appointment today. Once again, that's jdsjunkremovals.com to learn more and book your appointment today.
That gave me flashbacks. I remember doing junk removal, we'll call it, with my grandfather in his car and a big trailer in the back, and we would take stuff to the dump. And it is not a small bit of business, but that was a long time ago, Tyler. One might say that was back in the day. And I know you have a back in the day. We need to get into it. Let's play the music.
And now it's time to get old school. Prepare yourselves for Back in the Day.
I sure do. Now, listen, before we get to AEW Redemption talk, we cannot have Mike Steph on and not talk about the happenings in the greater New York City area. I've been waiting on this for a minute now, at least for about a week and change. Jay-Z, one may say Mike's favorite rapper. I am being very facetious about that statement, but I want to talk about Jay-Z because, in case you missed it, there was a big anniversary that happened in the world of hip-hop. So in celebration of Jay-Z's debut album, Reasonable Doubt, turning 30, the hip-hop legend had 3 concerts, not 1, not 2, but 3 concerts at Yankee Stadium earlier this month. Yeah, just about a week and a half ago. Biggest selling tour at the venue ever, flooded social media, so many cameo appearances from his wifey Beyonce to a host of other famous artists and celebrities who were in Yankee Stadium for this event. So much to talk about here. This is all in the midst of a Target boycott. So many Black shoppers over really the last year have boycotted the retail giant after the company decided to roll back DEI initiatives. Now, Jay-Z and Target partnered to release a special version of his Reasonable Doubt album. So Jay-Z has received the ire of many shoppers and many fans for this reason. This is not even including his partnership with the NFL. At this concert, Jay-Z took a shot at Colin Kaepernick during a freestyle. I won't quote the lyrics from the freestyle, but essentially the shots that he took at Cap were based on this idea of don't look at me, look at these other sellouts. Some people are coming for me on social media because I'm partnering with Target, but look at Colin Kaepernick, who received money from the NFL to essentially keep quiet and not fight the cause. Don't look at me, look at these other hypocrites. That's what it was given. So all that being said, Mike, thinking about inarguably one of the most commercially successful rappers in history, if not number one, thinking about this 3-night concert extravaganza at Yankee Stadium, 30 years later, Mike Steph, how has Jay-Z's legacy aged for you?
How has his legacy aged for me? Okay. This is very complicated issue with Jay-Z. Like my favorite Jay-Z album is Reasonable Doubt, right? That's because at one point in time, especially at that point in time, he was the underdog. You know, nobody really was checking for Jay-Z, right? Jay-Z came out with a couple songs prior to that, maybe 94, 95, that got him on the map for me. In My Lifetime, Volume 1, the OG version, Can't Get With That, Can't Get With This. Those were like my introduction to Jay-Z. So when Reasonable Doubt came out, I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I've been waiting for. Like between Jay-Z, Nas, It Was Written, and Mobb Deep, Hell on Earth, those three alongside multiple mixtapes was my soundtrack of summer '96. So Reasonable Doubt will always have that type of sentimental value. I mean, that was the year I turned 20. So that's always gonna have a sentimental value. Now, over the years, I would consider myself a Jay-Z fan, but I wouldn't consider myself a Jay-Z stan, so to speak, or a Jay-Z blind follower, because as the years have gone by, he's done a lot of questionable. He's done a lot of questionable things, or have a lot of questionable decisions that he's made. A lot of them, well, some of them impacted me directly. And when I say me, I'm talking about the people, the citizens, the inhabitants of Brooklyn. Because he was part of that, the Barclays Center. He's part of that. Bring the Nets to Brooklyn, even though he had 0.00000000000000001% of the ownership group, but he was literally used to pretty much galvanize the African American base in Brooklyn to not fight so hard against what ended up being the end of old Brooklyn. Don't get me wrong. Was Brooklyn the best place to be? I mean, in my mind, yeah, but I'm biased. But has there been a shift and made things a little bit more accessible to a certain degree? But the housing market in particular, once the Barclays Center was built and underway, and then of course they had to renovate the area around it and build businesses around it. By all means, you have arena, you have to build it around it. But downtown Brooklyn looks unrecognizable to how downtown Brooklyn was when I was growing up. Like I went to school downtown Brooklyn. I went to school at Brooklyn Tech. And that area, when it's a sunny day, you don't know it's a sunny day because you got all these skyscrapers. It looks like an extension of Manhattan now, right? And rent going from, let's say, $1,500 for a 2-bedroom apartment to $3,000 on a low end for a 2-bedroom apartment in 15 years. Yeah, part of it is inflation, but a lot of it had to do with the Barclays Center being built. But I'm not going to dwell on that. It's just him allowing himself to be used in these situations based on people following his every move, thinking that he literally is a god, Jehovah, and him making profit off that. That's what over the years have given me a bad taste. Like I think we talked about it in the past. I personally liked when it first came out 444. Because I'm like, oh, finally we're getting the introspective Jay-Z. We're getting another, we're getting the real Jay-Z, and he's unveiling his feelings. And then I realized, oh, this was a marketing ploy. You had Lemonade, who was Beyonce, with talking about the infidelity, and then you had Jay-Z 444 admitting to the infidelity, and then guess what? You had the Carter tour, so it's a trilogy. And I'm like, wow, I fell for it. And that was the last time I fell for it, but I fell for it.
You still feel a way about that. Those scars are still. I loved 444. This was the first time I initially deemed this conspiracy Steph when you first told me about your thoughts on this, Mike. But you've made some points over the years that I as someone who loved that 444 album, I'm coming to terms with the fact that Mike Steph may have a point here.
No, so if you look at the reviews on Target, actually right now, I decided to go in there and check out the comment section. I wanted to see if there was a flood of "don't buy this, don't support this."
What did they say?
It is currently at a 3.73 out of 5 stars, higher than I thought. There is as of right now only one "don't support" comment. Only one. That was yesterday. The other stars are because the vinyls are all skipping. They made a bad mold and one of the sides skip. And that's just par for the course. I don't know. I find it funny that the ones that are saying, "Hey, these are skipping," are the white vinyls. Just funny little metaphor there. That's it. I did go like, oh, cool. They have a cassette option. Who wants to listen to that though? Like the quality on that is so garbage. I'd rather have a vinyl. Like at least it's uncompressed, and I don't know. It doesn't sound as staticky. If I'm going to get the little scratches, I want the scratches. But the mold apparently isn't very good because people are still waiting for their pre-orders to come in, but the shelves are all stocked. So they could have just walked in and got one and didn't have to pre-order it. It's a hilarious comment section, but only one of them has been, "Hey, don't support this." It's just apparently it's not a very good product that they put out. 1996 was a hell of a year for albums, man. That was a hell of a year.
No, the one thing I'll say that I'll end it on this is it's just very disappointing that over the years that he feels like not one penny can be passed up, not $1 could be passed up. All money is not good money, right? So what he's done with the NFL partnership with the NFL, Target, for him to say, "Oh, which one? Look at them," and now y'all blame me, is totally two different things. Number one, if people are a patronizer, it's not the same as somebody gaining profit. Those are two different things. You have a consumer, and then you have the person that's receiving the money. You're receiving the money, and you could have gone to any other. You could have made your own outlet and said, "Guess what? For 30th anniversary, I'm coming out with this short-term business or short-term pop-up shop and everything, and you can only get here, and you can give me the money straight up." But no, you partnered with something that was in opposition to something that doesn't bother you, but some people are holding near and dear due to their opposition to DEI or what have you. You didn't have to put yourself in that position. You didn't have to put yourself in direct opposition of whatever Colin Kaepernick was doing when he was having the legal fight with the NFL. You allowed yourself to put yourself in that position. That's where the backlash is coming, because you're putting yourself in a position where you don't have to. If you're worth $1 billion, or you and Beyonce combined are worth $1 billion or more, that means you don't have to do the things that you do. Like, I'll simplify it in these terms. 26 years ago, 25 years ago, when it was Jay-Z versus Nas, and everybody thought Jay-Z won. Well, a lot of people thought Jay-Z won, or a lot of people said, "Look, after everything went on, look, Jay-Z, the billionaire, he won." No. Guess who still has their principle as far as we know? Nas. Nas won, and this is coming as a Brooklynite. Like, anybody's a millionaire or what have you. Yeah, you've done some unscrupulous things, or you've allowed some unscrupulous things to happen for you to collect your capital. But as far as I know, when it comes to not letting themselves be used in opposition of whatever movement is going on, Nas has never done that. Nas has actually put people on. Nas and people has said, "You know what? All the old acts, guess what? Come out, release your stuff on Mass Appeal. Fine, that's my label. Y'all do your thing, and we can we could bring y'all back. We could bring y'all back into the consciousness of the people." What does Jay-Z do? He tells State Property, "Come on stage, yeah, rock with me," and then that's it. Just for a photo op. Listen, I'm not expecting him and Dane to be like this, but you're not doing nothing substantive for anybody but yourself. And that's the problem. So was I going to spend my money, my hard-earned money, to go up there and see that? No. I'm not a concert person anyway, so I'm biased when it comes to that. But listen, Jay, no, I'm going to take my salute back. He gets nothing from it.
No salute emoji for
no.
Sean Carter.
No.
A revered figure in hip hop, perhaps by some still in Brooklyn, but definitely just a legacy to track. I'm fascinated by some of the choices he's made over the recent years, as the three of us just discussed, with his partnerships, and then also the need to feel like, even at not only his big age, but his big status as being on the Mount Rushmore of rap, for him to take a shot at Colin Kaepernick, for him to still address some of the pushback he's getting online. It's I don't know, ego can be a crazy thing sometimes. And it's wild that even a billionaire, even one of, if not the most successful rapper of the last 3 decades, is not immune to some of these maybe ego-led responses, just like any of us are. But Mike Steph has boots on the ground. I'm glad we talked about it, Mike. I know we could have a whole show just on Jay-Z, just on 444 and the conspiracies that may follow. But we're grateful for your perspective always.
Let me ask you one question. Is Jay-Z, no, matter of fact, is CM Punk similar to Jay-Z? How their legacies have soured over the years?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say no.
CM
Punk is a white guy.
Chasing the almighty dollar.
From the third
there,
post.
You're on to something, Mike Steph. You're on to something. Jay-Z was my first rap concert. I remember seeing him and Mary J. Blige, Heart of the City tour. I was in high school. It was America West Arena then in Phoenix. I have a lot of affinity for him and his music. I think you're making a great connection between him and CM Punk.
Well, maybe Jay-Z is up for some form in the future of redemption, and I know we have to talk about AEW's Redemption. Tyler, kick us off.
Yeah, the man is cooking. Best tag partner in the game. I say it because I mean it. All right, guys, AEW Redemption. We got Mike Steph to watch AEW television this week. Mike Steph made his return. So that's already a win by itself, but I'll get to my question here, and it is, again, focused on the debut of this Redemption pay-per-view, which is going down this Sunday from Montreal. So we have two big ascensions over the last year in AEW, and that is Kevin Knight and Thekla. Now, both have marquee matches at this Sunday's pay-per-view. Thekla is defending her AEW Women's World Championship against Willow Nightingale, a favorite of GI and a favorite of the three people on this podcast today. Shout out to Brad and his Willow Nightingale team. And Kevin Knight is challenging Kenny Omega. That's right, the Jet. That'll be for the AEW Men's World Championship. I believe both are losing this weekend, but I want to talk about how we got here. Now, Mike, you've enjoyed Thekla's work more than just about anyone else on the roster. In your estimation, what's led to her rise within the company? What's that one talent or skill in her bag that you think has enabled her to have such a clear and pronounced ascension? And how are you feeling ahead of, dare I say, what's likely to be the end of her reign this weekend?
Okay, as a AEW neophyte nowadays, I will say Thekla has always gotten my attention from the clips that I've seen, her promo. Like, her promos are hilarious. Her promos are brilliant, especially the latest ones where the lead up to the Forbidden Door, where she was going over to Stardom and she was pretty much punking out their owner.
So good.
Like,
so good.
She came on the radar for me with the no longer available Hey EW. I like when she had that. Why am I okay? When she had the interview with when she was on the show with RJ City, he always brings out the best in everybody's personality. So that was the first time I was actually able to see what she was about. So that made me interested in, like, all right, when she's on the show or if I see a clip, I'm going to watch it. Now, since she's become champion, it's just like gone up like 5 levels, which was kind of disappointing for me that the one time I actually decided to watch AEW in preparation for the show, she was nowhere to be found. And not that sort. I mean, maybe they had a little glimpse or maybe that little inset promo. I don't remember seeing Thekla. So that's the biggest thing with her. Her in ring is solid. Which got the Triangle of Madness. Also, the Blood and Guts match. The Blood and Guts match also. She shined in that. They all three of them shined in that. Now, do I think she's going to win? If it wasn't against Willow, I would say yeah. I don't even know why. Okay. I'm gonna make this short as possible. Willow returning from her injury to get the championship match, the pay-per-view before All In. You're not gonna bring Willow in and finally give her a chance to go for the AEW, the big belt, and have her lose. You're not going to do that. To me, that's kind of like telling the ending beforehand. But also, do I want Willow to be a transitional champion to have it for what, a month and a half? Well, a month. Her first championship reign? No. But knowing them the way they probably feel, it's like, well, it's almost like the Sammy reign. You could never take it away from you. You can always say I'm the former AEW World Champion. That doesn't mean you can't go back and get it again. But I don't know. But also, where does this leave Thekla when she loses? I'm going to put it out there because I'm not going to watch the pay-per-view. But when she loses, where does that leave her for all in? Are they going to have a triple threat? No. You're going to have Willow versus Mercedes. You think Mercedes is losing that all in 2 years in a row? No. So where does Thekla, which going to go into that? Besides the history is going to be made. Now, they're not going to main event. I personally might think about main event, or at least, hopefully, did at least the semi-main event.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be a co-main event situation.
But as far as... No, I can't even say that. But to me, there's some type of symmetry of Mercedes and Bianca main eventing WrestleMania a couple years ago and having that at a big... the big platform, and then you have Willow and Mercedes, their rivalry finally getting to this point. It started in New Japan, pretty much started in New Japan. It's almost like Willow is the one thing that Mercedes can't solve. She beat her for the New Japan title, she beat her for the TBS title, and now to finally get your championship, the long-awaited title reign of Mercedes Moné, she has to go through Willow. So maybe, I don't think they planned it like that personally, but I think that's how you can handle it. That's how it's going to end up, and that's how you can kind of formulate it in your mind. So yeah, so Willow's going to win, Thekla's going to lose, Mercedes going to win all in, win that all in, and Thekla is going to be just around, or maybe she'll go on an art exhibit tour until it's time for her to come back. I don't know. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
She is multi-talented. Brad, you've tracked, as well as anyone I know, the rise of Thekla and the rise of Kevin Knight. We got to get your reaction. These two are in prominent matches for this Sunday's Redemption. What say you?
They sure are, Tyler. I think the biggest thing here, Thekla and Willow, or Mercedes and Willow, depending on how this turns out. I think I'm with you guys. I think Willow's winning. Bianca and Sasha, yes, they main evented WrestleMania. They main evented one of the two nights of WrestleMania. They absolutely would not have main evented WrestleMania had it been one night. There's just 0% chance that would have happened. Co-main event and call it a co-main event? Absolutely. Main event, I just don't see it. I'm glad they got the opportunity, and I think that they did. I'm too jaded on who was doing the booking at the time, because I believe that was the same WrestleMania that gave us a box-like structure. So I got a lot of feelings toward all of that, but
rightfully so.
Anyway, Thekla Willow is the match on that card that makes me want to pay for it to watch. Everything else can kick rocks. Literally all of the rest of it.
I was going to say, I don't know if we're going to get into this. You're pretty down on this card.
It's just, this is a Beach Break was better.
Hey, my world
don't
cheated.
care like that. I don't care. Like they're going for it's the TBS championship is on the line on a pay-per-view. The television championship is on the line at a pay-per-view. The television championship is on the line at the pay-per-view. The television champion is defending the television champion off of television at the pay-per-view. If Sheeta loses, she'll have had 2 weeks to be the television champion on television. I'm all for Maya World winning this. I just want to see her win it on TV so she can be the television champion on TV. Because I don't think you're necessarily going to increase the audience by putting a $50 paywall in front of it, where I don't know. I get us to want to watch her on weekly television. I think it's great, but it's not a $50 thing that I want to pay for. It's Willow and Thekla, because I don't know what we're going to get from Sheeta and Maya World on this pay-per-view. It hasn't exactly been a long, beautiful build toward this, where Willow and Thekla have history. And Maya doesn't have history with anybody because she's on ROH primarily. So like her biggest, I don't know, the most history she has is what? Mercedes and Athena, who's not on AEW all the time. So right now it's just a match on the card. We have Andrade and Mark Davis. They have history, but Mark Davis versus Andrade is not the thing that makes me want to watch. That's a main event of a collision. Young Bucks versus Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley. I don't care. It's going to be fun, but like the match is probably going to be incredible, but it's also like, I'm not that invested. It's just a match. You could not make me invested in the Painmaker versus anybody. They would have to reanimate the corpse of somebody to get me in. Like if it was Painmaker versus Randy Savage now, okay, now I'm tuning in to see what they did with that body to see if they could resuscitate him. Because otherwise I don't care. I don't care. I saw Ciampa's ass get destroyed by an Adirondack last week. Now I got to watch him fight Chris Jericho in a no-holds-bar mask while Chris Jericho wears poorly done clown makeup and a fedora. Like, I don't care about this. Kevin Knight versus Kenny Omega when Kevin Knight's also defending his championship next week. Stupid. Cool spot. What an awesome... That'll make me watch Dynamite's main event. That is not going to get me to want to spend... I'm considering not spending the money on this because there's nothing on this card that makes me want to go out and do it except for the 2 women's matches. Way more on the Thekla Willow Nightingale side. I just feel like this is just a show they cobbled together. I've never felt more like that in AEW. I just feel like WWE and AEW right now, post Beach Break and pre All In, is just doing stuff. It's just doing stuff to get us there. And we happen to have this pay-per-view in the middle of it. If anything, this is going to be the show where we have returns and surprises because it doesn't really have a whole lot of other stuff going on. So maybe this is where we have people pop up that left WWE because their contracts expired or because they were let go. I know this is about that time where they, it's around that time. I know we talked about it before, but it was July. Seemed like the cutoff for a lot of these guys, early July, but it might still be too early. I don't know if somebody pops up on this show. That might get me more invested. Kyle Fletcher and Bandito are probably going to put on a 5-star banger, but I'm also not that invested because it's champ versus champ, and I think that stuff is stupid because only one championship is on the line, and I get it, but I'm so sick of ROH in my AEW. I just I need that to be better. So I'm real down on this card, and I don't say that about AEW very often, but I thought I probably should change my conversation here because my question is really about heading into Redemption. So we may as well just, keep going. But this is what I wrote down. We had one of the biggest AEW episodes in a long time with Beach Break. Classic episode. I thought Beach Break was awesome.
Yeah,
Start to finish, cover to cover. It was so good. We had championships won. We had huge pay-per-view level quality matches. Like better than the pay-per-view. And it was on Dynamite. Followed up by a Dynamite with Brodito versus Nick Camarado and Aaron Solo. No follow-up at all this week from Hangman's return whatsoever. It's baffling what they're doing here. Like we're trying to build up to this thing. So we do Brodito versus people they're not fighting at the pay-per-view. So like if you want to get us invested in the storyline, you do the CM Punk and the Cody Rhodes thing. It's a tried and true classic for people that don't pay attention to watch the people that are going to fight do a tag team together against other nefarious people. Like you have a bunch of rivals mixed up in the ring. Let's see if they can coexist. This wasn't even that. This was just Brodito versus Nick Camarado and Aaron Solo. So I imagine that it's going to be Bandito and Kyle Fletcher. I'm sure the Callis family's getting involved. Brody's going to come down to defend Bandito, and that's all this is going to be. In between that, we got a tag match randomly. I just feel like the build to all of this has been trash, like just utter garbage. I I don't need to see more Jericho and Ciampa, but we're continuing on anyway. We're gonna keep going, and that's fine. Having a feud is fine, and I love both these guys. Jericho's on my Mount Rushmore. I think he's too important to the industry and the business to ignore him, and I think people forget about him all the time. It makes me crazy. Kevin Knight versus Kenny Omega is probably going to be fun, and it's a great spot for Kevin Knight. Really? In what universe do you think there's a sliver of half a percentage of a chance that Kevin Knight's walking away with a win? It's just there. Like, you may as well just erase it because it doesn't matter. Put him in a tag match or something against Kenny, or have Kenny defend against somebody. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this ends up being like one of the best pay-per-views of the year. I always hope that, especially if people are paying for it. But I just look at this and go like, look at all this talent on there and how there's just 0% of a story going into it unless you start really peeling the layers on that onion. You got to really find it.
I forgot what the question was, or if that was just an excellent promo.
It's not really a question. It's back to you. It's just thoughts heading into Redemption.
No, my
question was, what are your thoughts heading into Redemption?
My thoughts. Well, Mike Steph, do you want to go first?
You already answered it. Like I'm just saying, like our questions were basically the same damn thing. Mine was just negative. So yours was a question.
I will say this, and then we'll pick the vibes up because I know that we have a great review of the Odyssey waiting for us, courtesy of one Brad Winchester. So the vibes will be up. I want to say one thing to validate what you guys mentioned. Looking at the wrestling calendar, specifically AEW's, this is a really challenging time because, as you said, Brad, we have All In coming up soon in August. So we still got some time, but we just had Beach Break, this big TV special. And now Redemption is not, it's just simply not as exciting as what we had on Beach Break. The show could end up being fantastic. As you've mentioned, we've been in this position before with AEW where expectations were fairly low amongst the fan base, at least from the vantage point of us. And then the show over delivers. That's quite possible. But as both of you guys laid out, I think an issue here is that so many of these matches seem incredibly predictable. Yeah. And I am the type of wrestling fan where a lot of the magic for me is not just based on the incredible athletic feats of the performers we're watching, but it's based on, oh, snap, I don't know who's going to win this match. And there are not that many matches on the card. This could be a case of the 90%. We could come on next week and I could be completely wrong about these matches. But a lot of these matches feel like foregone conclusions. We didn't talk about this. I doubt Cage and Cope are dropping the titles to Claudio and Pac.
No, I didn't even bring it up.
You did not. Sheeta is not losing to Maya World. The main event, the presumptive main event, Maya World could do it. Who knows? I don't think that's going to happen. I think the money is in her beating Athena, being the one to dethrone Athena for ROH. But we already went down the list. We believe Willow's going to be Thekla. Who knows? Kenny Omega is not. I mean, there's been so much promotion already for Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. Tickets have been sold because London fans know that is the match they're going to get. Love this ascension for Kevin Knight. Brad, you've tracked it for the past several months. Kevin Knight's ascension up the card has been one of my favorite stories in AEW.
Yep.
Big moment for him this Sunday, but it's a foregone conclusion Kenny Omega's winning. So I think what you guys said in terms of your observations and being a bit more sour on this card or salty about this card than other AEW cards, it's completely justified. I plan on tuning in. I hope it's an awesome show. I know you guys hope that as well. We'll see what happens, but so much of the magic of wrestling for me is when we have matches, especially on a pay-per-view we're paying for, where we go in not knowing who's going to win. And unfortunately, as we record this, Redemption seems rather devoid of that.
See, the one thing with me personally, when it comes to AEW, to me, I represent the casual fan when it comes to AEW. I was a fan. I was an avid watcher. They turned me off to the point that I no longer make a point to watch on Wednesdays. I have nothing to do on Wednesday evenings, but I choose to scroll on YouTube and watch Instagram Reels for 2 hours as opposed to watching AEW. only reason I watched AEW this week was to get in preparation for this show. And like I said, I saw no Thekla. I saw no follow-up from Heyman. I saw no follow-up from the former champ that got the throne last week, MGF. Like, there was no mention of him except for the ring that Andrade magically got, where I guess he's supposed to get it from Will Ospreay. I got confused about whether or not, okay, well, I see Moxley talking to Will Ospreay, who is a face, and giving him advice. But early in the show, I saw Willa Yuta and Daniel Garcia go against Cope and Cage, and then they teamed up with the Dogs to beat up Cope and Cage until the Bang Bang Gang came in there. So, all right, now, so the Death Riders are hate faces, heels, tweeners, or some of them, it's one person to face, the other, like, this, as somebody that's just jumping into the product, that is not keeping full abreast to it, and just based on whatever knowledge that they're reading and hearing, it's like, all right, what am I supposed to be thinking? Who am I supposed to be watching? Who am I watching? You know, and then you have a main event, which, okay, put Mercedes in the main event with the World Tag Team Champions versus Willow, Maya World, and Hyon. Good match. I'm glad they main evented, but what was the stakes? Like if anything, if you would say it was the triangle of madness versus Willow, Hyon, and Maya, I get it, because Willow is about to go against Thekla. To me, that's a match that you have after Redemption, if our predictions go the way it's supposed to go. Once again, so yeah, so me parting $50 out of my pocket to watch Redemption? No, I am not. All in, I am leaning toward buying it, because I'm like, you know, I've heard that a lot of pay-per-views this year, wrestling wise, have been worth the money. Mm-hmm. That is their biggest show. And there are matches that I'm intrigued on watching, especially since I'm going to forego watching SummerSlam. So I'm like, you know what? All right, fine. Listen, I understand this is how they set up. If I got to pay $50 for it, so be it. Or $40, because I got, is it $50 if you got Max?
$40 if you have Max.
It's $50 if you got Max?
$39.99 if you have Max.
Oh, $40 if you got Max.
$40.
Okay. See, and this would be my first time watching the pay-per-view on Max, because I haven't bought a pay-per-view since the Bleacher Report days, which was an error.
Sure was.
In more ways than one.
It's still
sure
loading.
was.
Yeah. It's still buffering. Well, I didn't have to buffer.
We'll see what happens.
I didn't have to buffer anything at the movie theater this weekend, I should say. No buffering Jones. I was scared going in. I was not disappointed. Let's play the music. It's time to talk about the Odyssey. It's GI at the movies.
And now, it's time for GI at the movies.
All right, gentlemen, I did not go see this in IMAX. There were no seats except for the first 2 rows, and I'm not doing this for a movie. I don't care if it's meant to be on IMAX. I'm not looking straight up at nostrils in glorious, crystal clear definition. The other thing is that IMAX theater, the seats are kind of garbage, and a lot of IMAXs are so beat up. Personally, give me the recliners. So I went to AMC and did the AMC Prime seating, and I was worried about aspect ratio. I'm not going to lie. So the aspect ratio for the Odyssey it was entirely shot in IMAX, which means it looks closer to our old school television sets than anything else. Not widescreen letterbox or a little bit bigger than that. It's more of a square. In my Prime theater, that's exactly what I got. I was worried about it being cut off. It was not. I'm sure parts of it were. I didn't notice it. I thought it was amazing. I thought this movie, people are going to overhype it by more than I think your expectations should be, and underhype it at the same time. I cannot overstate how good this was. This was one of the best movies I've ever seen in a theater. This was an awesome experience. I thought on the way in, I'm going to get that really big Trojan horse popcorn bucket that I saw online. Do you know how much that thing costs? It is $70. Correct. That is the correct response by both of you. $70 for that popcorn bucket. I saw it and went, oh, never mind. I'm just going to get some popcorn and some sodas, which also will cost me $70, but I digress. So I got my stuff. We headed into the theater. I'm going to be brief about the film. Go see it. It's worth it. I don't care if you're Tyler and you can't sit there for a long time. Go see it anyway. Pace yourself. It's worthwhile. If you know anything about the Odyssey, it's really like 2/3 journey, and then 1/3 I got to figure out how to overcome these suitors, and it's totally worth it. And the film is very much set up that way. Did they leave some stuff out? Yes. Did they change some stuff? A little bit. Did that affect the film in any way? No. The story is the story is the story. They did this with so much practical effects that some of it is crazy. At one point, Hades is involved because Odysseus needs to figure out how to get home, and he consults Hades. And he's visited by the dead soldiers of his past, including some primary characters. I'm not spoiling anything unless you haven't read the 3,000-year-old poem. Okay. They filmed it where the dead soldiers get up out of the ground as Mike goes into the underground and total darkness. They filmed this, and they pop out from the dirt, Tyler. They were under the dirt. They were just buried there. They took the actors, gave them little straws, and buried them in the dirt. And they just crazy. So they were down there for hours filming this scene, and all of the practical effects, and I don't want to spoil anything for anybody because it's jarring. Some of it, it really came through. You could tell it in the performances. I want to shout out a couple of things. So the special effects, they were special. They truly were special. The Cyclops was a combination of CGI and a giant animatronic puppet. They had puppetry, animatronics, and CGI all blending together. Guillermo del Toro told Christopher Nolan at one point, it's not about the monster, it's about the performance behind the monster. And you really want that to come through because ultimately the Cyclops is a being, a son of Poseidon, or an offspring of Poseidon, however that works. And it terrifying, utterly terrifying. The sound design for this film is going to win, I think, an Academy Award and some other things. Elliot Page was awesome in the role. No spoilers. Tom Holland, okay, amazing in this movie. John Leguizamo, who I didn't even know was in this film, was incredible. That dude has so much behind his eyes, and to have that for a blind character was remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. I wouldn't be shocked if those two didn't get supporting actor nominations, as well as John Bernthal as Menelaus. I thought he was also incredible in this. Absolutely amazing. The Trojan horse being a practical effect also really bled through. Okay, now we got to talk about this part. We got to talk about the trailers beforehand. Tyler, I was not prepared. I was not prepared for the trailers. I didn't know we were going to be getting horror before the Odyssey started. We got a Red Band trailer for Digger, which I can't wait for this. I can't wait to see Tom Hanks in another quasi-comedic role. It looks amazing. It looks unhinged. I'm so excited. But we've got to talk about Whale Fall. Whale Fall is a film about a whale that just swallows a person, and I think the movie is about this person struggling to get out of the whale. Gave me Nope vibes inside a jean jacket. Have you seen this?
I saw that trailer.
Oh,
yes,
brutal. I was like, I'm absolutely not going to watch this.
I was
uncomfortable watching the trailer.
What did I last see at the movie theater? Regardless, it's going to take me too long.
Backrooms.
I think it was Backrooms. I think it was Backrooms. Whale Fall. Yeah, I saw that, and I felt disturbed.
The other one, now Fokker-in-Law was on there too, and that looks uncomfortable as well.
Ariana Grande, right?
Yes. And then Spider-Man. Obviously, they're going to have that, and that's coming out later this month.
Big
excited
for that. Tom Holland and Zendaya, favorite couple.
Yes, and Anne Hathaway, who is on. She's in that. I can't remember what it's called, A Street or whatever. End of the Street. That dinosaur time travel thing from the '80s. Have you seen this?
No, but I'm just thinking back to This happens where I think back something you said a few minutes ago. John Bernthal in Spider-Man as well, playing Punisher.
Also in Spider-Man, yeah.
I
With
saw
Tom Holland, it's crazy.
He's making the media tour, yeah.
Yes.
I
Really, 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 really excited for that, whatever that movie is called that I can't say that I'm excited for, which is crazy. And then finally, Other Mommy. Other Mommy had me absolutely pooping soup in the theater. I had no idea what was about to occur here.
That's crazy.
It was insane. Jess was looking at me because she didn't want to look at the screen anymore. Think of it as Us, but aggressively worse. Aggressively worse.
White ensemble? Black ensemble? Both?
White ensemble. So that's why part of the aggressive. So aggressively worse. It was terrifying. There was contortion under a table stuff. It was like there's this being that is pretending to be your mom, and it's awful. Like awful in the best scary way. I don't know if I'm gonna go see this because I'm afraid to soil myself in a public space. Well, I'd rather do it privately if we're gonna do it at all. But we'll see. Anyway, the trailers were really set the tone for this film. You get a Christopher Nolan flick. It's amazing. Go check it out. See it in a theater. Check it out in IMAX. Tyler is blessed to be by one of the 49, I think, theaters in the world that have IMAX 70 millimeter. And it's what the film was intended for. It's what it was filmed in. And what Christopher Nolan says, like, this is the ultimate experience is to see it in that. And you will get the absolute truest form of that film. I'm not probably going to make it up for that because it's sold out from now until eternity. But I would very much like to be able to go see that at some point. I would go see this again. Jess is good. Jess's review is, that was amazing. I'm good. I don't need to go see it. If you know the Odyssey, it's not like you're going there for good times. So, remarkable film. Definitely check it out. Totally worth the hype. Go see it. And now, let's bring back Mike.
That was so smooth. Mike Steph is back just in time for What Did We Miss? Mike Steph, you want to lead us here?
What did I miss? Should I miss?
Now what did you miss? What did we miss before we get out of here?
Shoot. I don't think anything off the top of my head, you know. We had the All-Star game, which was a bore. We had the home run derby, which I heard was fantastic, but I didn't watch it. Which was interesting. Shout out
to that brother from St. Louis.
Which was interesting because Netflix, this is the first year Netflix did the home run derby and was in direct opposition to WWE, which makes me wonder, are they going to get more? Did they get more bang for their buck from the home run derby than WWE? And if so, how is that going to look in another 2.5 years when it's time to re-up and just say, are we going to re-up for the next 5 years, or are we going to get out while the getting's good? So I think that was a little thing. But yeah, that's the only thing on top of my head of what did we miss is, besides it being yet another week of celebration for the men in blue and orange in my city, which I'm quite sure Tyler has something to say about.
That great lead in. I sure do. What do we miss? Big winners from the ESPYs for me. Host Marcelo Hernandez of SNL fame. I wrote in my notes. I always say that. I typed in my notes. The Knicks, all caps. They won several awards. Right? They won several awards throughout the night, most notably the final, the biggest award during every ESPY ceremony, which is Team of the Year. Predictably, the New York Knickerbockers went home with another trophy. Really great night for them. And then finally, Lauren Betts of UCLA fame, a rookie now for the Washington Mystics. She won as part of UCLA's title victory this past season. I really loved her speech and admired what she shared about her mental health journey. She penned an article for a website, Players Tribune. There we go. The Players Tribune several months ago now about her mental health journey and kind of reflecting on her career amidst the Final Four and championship run. And she continued that conversation while she was on the stage. So just an incredible story of resilience, and just really enjoy her work on and off the court. Finally, community shouts, one quick one. Big shout out to DC Hendricks friend of the show and past guest. He, you may know, is of the WrestleHolics pod. He's at official DC Hendricks on Instagram. He mentioned that he would rather have Cody Rhodes turn heel than CM Punk. We had that conversation last week on the pod, and DC was generous enough to share his perspective. He wants a heel turn for the American Nightmare. We will see if that's in the works. And then finally, before I kick it to Brad, a quick preview here. Erica Day, speaking of past guests and friends of the show who we love dearly, Erica is making her return to GI this week. She's going to join us for a WNBA episode ahead of All-Star Weekend. Can't wait for Erica to join us for that. Brad, what did we miss?
Not a lot. I think you covered a lot, but I do want to mention that Andrew and Tristan Tate were both arrested in Florida, yay, by the U.S. Marshals in Miami. So thankfully, those absolute scumbags got arrested. They have warrants out for their arrest for trafficking and rape in several countries. So bye, Felicia. That's it.
Well said. Mike, thank you for joining us. Tell us, in case we forgot, how our audience can support all you're doing, and just as importantly, what you've been up to.
Okay. You can always contact me on Instagram. That's my social media choice, which is at Mike_Steph on Instagram. That's where I will communicate mostly, put clips, put videos, put raps, the whole nine. You can also check out my pod, The Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph. They drop whenever I really feel like it, but they're supposed to drop late Sunday night, early Monday morning, right in opposition, but in tandem with Gimmick Infringement on the YouTube channel of at Mike Steph _. And yeah, that time is coming. That time is coming. Football. I can smell the aroma. Football. And that only means that the return of Hidden Gems Football for season number 5 with myself and the Mojo King. We will be talking about, well, I'm quite sure in the next week or two, where we start sprinkling out some episodes in the previewing this upcoming NFL season. So that's really everything that's promotional wise. But one last note, it's a personal note. I plan on releasing some music. Glenda's Baby Boy is the name of the EP. I don't even know if it's going to be an EP or just full length. I haven't decided yet. And the tentative drop date would be August 5th. Why August 5th, you might ask? Well, that's because that's my birthday.
Hey.
Who's Glenda Baby Boy? That's me. Who's Glenda? That's my late mom. My mom would have been 82 this year. September would be 20 years that she passed away. She passed away way too young. And it's like in memory of her and wishing that she was around for me being 50, turning 50 is such a blessing. It's a blessing in so many ways, but it's also very melancholy in so many ways because, you know, my son, Nakai, he would be 31 on the 27th of July, which is 9 days before my birthday. And just the fact that I'm going to reach this milestone without my oldest son and my mom physically here, because we know that, and I know that they're here spiritually. You know, it's a little bit melancholy, but I'm going to do the mixtape. Just get some views off, get some thoughts off, and it's circled around pretty much my upbringing or around my mom. You know, so that's why it's hence Glenda's Baby Boy. So yeah, you can check that out. Hopefully it'll be dropping on Bandcamp, as long as they don't ban it for reasons. I'm not even talking about language wise, because I've really have kind of cleaned up my vernacular. You know, when I hear a curse, it's almost like a shotgun. We were talking about noises. Like when I hear a curse, it like reverberates, because I very seldom, if ever, utter. The closest thing I say to curse is mother effer, you know, which is a long way from the salty thoughts of you know who. So, yeah, I'm monopolizing the whole time. It's almost like I'm really trying to make it sure we go 2 hours, but we're not gonna go 2 hours. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, needless to say, we love you, Mike Steph. That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I think that we can consider that an exclusive scoop, Brad. Mike Steph, new music, Glenda's baby boy. We will definitely be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for us. You can follow us at GIPod19 for all the exclusive show updates and then some. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.